What's going on, guys? Steele here. So this is actually going to be the introduction, but it's going to be after me playing. I was going to start playing and recording this, but I honestly don't have the patience for War Thunder right now. During the Buildathon event, I just don't. This is basically just going to be a first impressions. I played one game at 9.3 in its respective battle rating for the XM8, and then I played one at 10.7. And while I did do alright in both games, I still think that this vehicle has a lot of issues with it that should get resolved in terms of its performance. Its mobility is actually garbage for a light tank. I literally played one game. One game was on Stalingrad with the armor package at 9.3. The other one was without the armor package at 10.7 at night on Sweden. And I did do pretty good, but the team still got rifle stomped both games. And honestly, quite frankly, I despise American 9.3. I cannot stand that battle rating. It's just G91 CAS, Gepard spam. You know, it's not. It's very unenjoyable to play a tank at a battle rating where CAS is just so overblown. Now, I understand you might say, well, Steele, you have an A4E in your lineup. You use CAS too. And yes, I understand that, but I go into a bit of a rant in Stalingrad, in the Stalingrad match, about that. So, anyways, I'm gonna switch over to the live gameplay right now, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. This is gonna be a bit of a rant-filled video, because quite frankly, I'm not gonna go whole Spookston level, but this thing's just, I don't know, just watch. I guess this thing is quite a smooth ride though, in terms of it constantly being moving, but it's got this weird suspension stuff.
Attention to the map. The Allied forces have captured a zone. Attack the A point. Attack the B point. Attack the C point.
Come on, 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 come on. No, no, no.
Defend the A point. Defend the B point. Attack the D point. Defend the C point. Negative. Attack hostile base. Well done. I refuse. Destroy hostile troops. I refuse. I'm sorry. There are forces of
Come on, go down on the ice, bitch. I dare you. And keep going. Loader.
Attention to the map. Never.
Okay, I don't know why you would keep running there, bud, but alright.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Oh, they're literally capturing Charlie right in front of us. We can't go further. Apparently.
The enemy has captured most of the strategic zones.
Got him.
Attention to the designated grid square.
Okay, so I have this armor package on. Which apparently weighs this down crap ton. Got him.
Defend the A point.
So I don't get smoked with level 3 armor. Engine radiator.
attention to the map.
Oh, that reversed gear, man.
Repairing.
God damn it. Huh. As usual, it's playing 9.3 America. The team collapses. It's really not a shock anymore. You're fighting literally leopards and like a couple of T-72As, and you can't. I'm pretty much certain this game is entirely over. Imagine if the A4E was a premium. I would actually say that that America would be pretty OP with their cast if they had a premium air-to-ground missile-carrying aircraft, but they only have Event 1/Squadron. They don't have premium bonuses, but both the Germans and the Italians to a lesser extent because they only get the one, but the Germans get a G91 that still costs to this day 99,000 RP to research, while the FJ4 was an event vehicle that you can't get anymore unless you buy it. This is a squadron vehicle that you collectively have to grind with your entire squadron that costs 380,000 RP. So this isn't even like a normal grind. This is like your squadron collectively grinding for you, basically. What's entry with a bullpup? I'm trying to think of the A4B, which is also not 99,000 RP. So it's funny. Everyone complains about American casts, which, of course, they do have a lot of powerful cast options. However, they all take about 3 to 4 times as long to obtain than the G91R3. I was stuck at the German air tree at, like, rank 5 forever. Like, the only thing I had was the MiG-15 bis. Literally, the second they put the G91 in the tree, I researched whatever was before it, like an ME410 or something, and I had a G91 in, like, a day or two. But, like, with the A4, like, I had to grind through, you know, half an attacker line, grind what is essentially the cost of 2 or 3 G91R3s, you know. So, I just find it very comical, to be honest. Like, it's funny, because, like, it's part of the reason why I don't play Germany. I'm researching the PL right now. I asked for my monthly G allowance, which I still haven't gotten yet, and I was probably going to use the G that I get with that to get the PL so I could play the F4F Phantom, because I also got that on a test drive. But like, I don't grind Germany because quite frankly it's too easy. Sweden was basically Germany with a few more challenging options, and of course the S-Tank, and I own top tier Sweden, so I basically own top tier Germany on steroids. You know, in terms of like if Germany had a Puma IFE, well, I have a CV90. You know, it's like. Also, I see a bagel panzer shooting. Oh, there you are. Hello. The amount of Gephards. This tier is so cancer. Just honestly. This tier is just so genuinely cancer. It's why I don't play 9.3 America, and why I think the XM8 should have just gotten an M833 and been a 9.7. I wanted a spawn game, thank you. Very cool. I wanted to kill some, but all right. Okay, well that was a game in snow with the armor package on. Now we're gonna take the armor package off, because it's 6,000 kilograms of mass, and we're gonna go into top tier with it because I'm not playing that piece of shit tier. I would rather play 10.7 or at the very least 10.0 with this thing than I would play 9.3, because 9.3 is G91 cast spam and Leopard L44 easy mode. The XM1 is Papega smooth brain. People drive around, they're too go-karty, they're too smooth brain. But in a Leopard, you can kind of sneak around and blap blap, and then you've got, you know, the Russian and German combo. It's just not stupid.
Alright, here we are in 10.7 with the M8 without the armor package. Ironically, I'm in a city zone. We're going to compare this to the HSTV-L, which is 0.4 higher. So you've got 9.7 versus 9.3. And the one thing that the HSTV-L has that this doesn't is profile. Okay, this is a light tank. Remember. This thing is supposed to be sneaky. Now, of course, we get a city map, so that's the literally least ideal place to be. But this thing, I played the VFM 5 for a while. I got a test drive of that when it came out because I was just curious, because I know it from Armored Warfare. Also, I hear an enemy helicopter. Go figure. That, quite frankly, like, this thing just, it's not... Oh, thank you, Z835. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And he just got shot by a leopard. Now he's either going to come from there, or he's going to come from there. So, quite frankly, I think this thing is not actually worth it. Simply because it's less mobile than the VFM. The only thing, to compare this to the VFM doesn't have thermals, has like the same round. That's, and I believe it's 90993. So. I see you. Don't you. It's good for heli rushing. This thing is kind of cool just to drive around, how it's like real bouncy. But for the most part, this thing is just a VFM with thermals.
Attention to the designated grid squares.
But, I'm sorry, I'm trying to commentate, but I'm also trying to be sneaky. Oh, hello, hello. Fuck. I could pull that one off.
Attention to the map. On target.
Okay, I don't know where the T8 went.
Attention to the designated grid zone.
Like, look at this mobility. Now, the other thing that I will mention. Okay. Got him, buddy. I got him. Stop firing. Commander loader. Got him. Now, if I don't die, I can get the T-72 on cap. Got him. I'm enjoying myself at top tier more than I am in 9-3. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, so we're gonna take a look at this. We're gonna compare this between the XM8, the HSTV-L, and the VFM5. Okay, so the VFM5 is 9.0 with C76A1 as its top round. Okay, lacks thermal. It's honestly pretty weak. You might get the occasional trolley bounce. It's probably just good against autocannons, honestly. You know, really not that big of a deal. Okay, it's a light tank, but it's definitely way more mobile. Okay, than the M8. I played it, and the thing just like turns on a dime. It accelerates pretty well for a light tank. You know. Considering the battle rating that it's at, it's much superior to a lot of the main battle tanks at 9093, including the Leopard, obviously. I would say that this is basically a light tank version of a Leopard. You know, like, that's how it plays. Because, like, Leopards used to be one of the most mobile tanks in the game at one point. But, like, you've got, you know, stuff like the VFM5 where it doesn't really matter anymore. So, in comparison to what you can play in the same lineup, roughly. So I understand that the HSTV-L is 9.7. But the HSTV-L, even in its gimped format, is still better than the XM8. Simply because it's lower profile. Okay, you get 17 degrees of gun depression versus 10, which means that you can be really sneaky on ridgelines because of your profile. Now, of course, you don't have a 105 gun. You have a high velocity 75, but you can still make this work. Now, of course, I fucked up on a Leopard just now. But, you know, it doesn't matter. In most situations, when you're not on a city map, it doesn't matter, okay? The XM8's pros is that it doesn't have a freaking vacuum cleaner of an engine that you can hear from a mile away, which, again, those engines are higher pitch, but they're usually quieter than turbo diesels, okay? You can roughly, when I'm playing the HSTV-L, and I have, just to go show you, I have my audio for my engine turned all the way down, and have it for other players all the way up, considering Gaijin just broke the soundscape because people were doing this on purpose, so it doesn't matter. Welcome to sound design, Gaijin. You're never going to get around it. Anyways, so I can't hear a Leopard. I can barely hear a Leopard around a corner with this thing. Because it's so freaking loud. He can definitely, for the most part, hear me. His engine is also loud, but we can hear each other. The XM8, I was just sitting there, and none of those people heard me. That T80U was like looking in my direction like he heard something, and he didn't. Of course, again, I have my engine volume down, but this thing's engine is like, it's like almost sounds like the trucks, like the half tracks, and they might change it in the future. But this thing is very quiet. That is the one pro that this thing has going for it. And it's got like this like stupid arm in the back. What the hell? Anyways, I think it's a cool tank. I think the XM8 is a cool novelty tank. If you want to collect it, you should get it. But to use this, I don't think there's a reason to use this outside if you're grinding America right now, okay? And you don't have above 9.3. You don't have the HSTV-L. So let's say you're grinding, and you may have just gotten the striker and optimal lineup. You have a striker, you have an M3A3, an M60, and maybe an MBT70 or XM803. Okay. Ignore the Merkavas. For me, the Merkava is a nice A to the lineup. I actually hate the XM1. I think the XM1 is garbage, and I would much rather take an M60 because I'm slow and methodical versus the XM where you always over advance yourself and I just hate the XM1. I think it's a garbage tank. I never liked it. I only used it as a backup when grinding the tree. I have no reason to use it over something like a Merkava or even the M60. Funny enough, because it also gets 774, which is slightly better in an up tier. Anyways, with that mini rant aside, the XM8 is, again, the profile much taller, but it's quieter than the HSTV-L. So that's the balance. Do you want to be sneaky in terms of sound, or do you want to be sneaky in terms of people might not see you go under, really shallow slopes? Because personally, I use the HSTV-L in 10.7, as you can see, and I do quite well with it. The XM8, I may have gotten a little lucky there because it was a night battle, but like, just playing 2 games of this thing, I already don't want to play it. I want to play the HSTV-L. Because they're not even that far apart in terms of battle rating. And also, so matchmaking-wise, it's not really similar. Of course, if you're only playing the HSTV-L, you don't have a 9.7 US lineup. But the M3A3 Bradley is totally fine in 10.7 when I played it on my test drive. This thing is flawless. So is the M901 as TD, since you can hide, the hull. So you can kind of afford to up tier some tanks, but not every tank. Like the XM1 because it's got thermals and speed, and the M60 because it's got thermals and a decent round. You can up tier those. Or the M60 AMBT if you have it, of course. That's an event vehicle. If you don't have it, therefore is an exception, so it doesn't matter. But I would much rather just take the HSTV-L because it accelerates better. It drives better. It has, the autoloader, albeit it's gimped in terms of it's constantly not feeding rounds. The only thing that I have a complaint of the HSTV-L that doesn't really pertain to the XM8 is it not having the VT round, because America and Britain are the victims of the helicopter rushing from the Russians, yet literally the only top tier vehicle that can defeat it in terms of a round that it fires from its main gun and not just spamming the already super tanky helicopters with 50 cals is the M1A2. Okay, you can use the Bradley, of course, but again, you don't have VT. It's not like the Swedish. So if the HSTV-L had the VT round, I would definitely say that it is so far better than the XM8, and just in terms of utility and in play style, it is a much better vehicle. I think it's funny. I think it's probably the reason why the XM8 is an event vehicle and not the HS is because of this reason alone. Spookston complained that the XM8 was the closest thing that America had to a production light tank, and maybe this one should have been in tree, and maybe, something else should have been the event vehicle. I think if the HSTV-L was the event vehicle, I would definitely say 110% go for it. But currently, I don't see a reason to get this. In 9.3, you're just going to get blown away by G91 spam. It's not like you're not going to have a good experience with this thing. It's way too sluggish with and without the package on, which is just ridiculous to me. So I personally, I think that if you were to go for the XM8, go for it as a collectible vehicle. Maybe, you play custom battles, you want to role play, or, like a certain scenario, whatever. I think it's a fun vehicle to mess around with, but like, see, you take the armor package off, you get their smoke grenades. Why would you use the armor package? Why did they even add it? Because there are some images of that were posted of it with smoke grenades on the level 3 package, and they didn't do that still. So if they change this vehicle, then in any way, if they give it M833, I don't know if it was designed for M900, but for the most part, it could probably get M833. If it got M833 and it got smokes on the L3 armor package, and the L3 armor package was actually viable, I would say get it. But for now, if you do get this thing and you still want it, never research the L3 package. Completely forget about it. It's completely useless. You want to retain the smoke grenades because you're a light tank. Of course, I was on a city map, didn't really matter. But you want the smoke grenades over the protection the passive protection that may or may not save you. I still personally, if you have an HSTV-L already and you're thinking of picking up the XM8 to play it, just keep the HSTV-L. If you want to collect American light tanks, be my guest and get it. So, without repeating myself further, the verdict is, if you're a collector, get it. If you want to use it, don't get it. I see it as a complete waste of time. It would be nice to figuratively bolster your 9093 lineup if you're grinding. So that's another scenario. But other than that, I don't see a use for the M8 at all in this game. I don't. If it's gonna still be this sluggish, because apparently its engine power or something is just wrong. But stat cards always lie. I don't know. To be honest with you, I already have the M8 and the M8 Thunderbolt 2 in Armored Warfare, and not shamelessly plugging Armored Warfare, but I think if you want to play an M8, Armored Warfare is the more fun way to go. And if you just want to play the vehicle and have fun with it, I don't think you're going to have fun with this vehicle, considering that a lot of the maps are top tier. Just if you're in a city, you got to be sneaky like I was, or you're screwed. If you're in open range fights, just try to be speedy. But like, I mean, it might be enjoyable. I've only played 2 games of it, but from my first impressions of this thing, I don't think it's worth it, and I just much would rather take an HSTV-L. Because even before I got the test drive, which I only just logged on and we just got them today, is that I test drove it stock the other day. This feels actually no different to its stock driving performance, and it's spaded now. Like it feels exactly the same. Maybe a slight bit better acceleration, but overall, I just think it's sluggish. I might do in a separate video. I might do a speed test where I compare the XM8, the VFM, the HSTV-L, maybe another light tank like the TAM. I think I can do a light tank comparison video separately. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do next. What I'm gonna work on next, get somebody with a VFM. So yeah, anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for me. That's my first impressions of the XM8. I don't think it's worth it, but continue grinding for it regardless. It's still better than getting a copy-paste F4. Okay? If you like both tanks and planes, and you want something that isn't just a copy-paste, go for the XM8. If you don't like tanks, then go for the F4. It doesn't matter. I'm going to look at it, but I'm not going to do a video on the German F4. I personally, I do not see a reason for me to even play this. You are a lighter, slightly faster, dogfighting kind of airframe, as long as it retains the AIM-9Js. I think because I already own a Phantom, and like we already know what the Phantom is capable of, this thing is not going to be spectacular, other than the fact that since it's lighter, it will dogfight easier. Also, there's a secondary camouflage, so yeah. That's it, honestly. I am not participating in this Buildathon event. I could care less, honestly. I really don't like Buildathons. I don't have the, how should I say, I don't have the mental capacity to play a Buildathon anymore because it's a lot more extra steps. With the task-based events, everyone is, yes, more sweaty, but, I mean, it's a lot more straightforward than clickety-clack, this is what the fuck I want simulator, okay? So, I don't like these events. I don't approve of these events. I hate the Buildathons. I think a lot of people tolerate the Buildathons, and Gaijin takes that as, oh, people like the Buildathons. No, I don't think people like your Buildathons. I think they're stupid. I think it's just plain goofy. Something to maybe incentivize people to do a Buildathon, like with this Minotaur event, I think would be cool if they made a decoration, a mini Harpy or Minotaur or Hydra decoration, or a mini UCAV that you could put on your tanks or something. I think would incentivize people to have something more collecting, because you're literally building a Minotaur. So make it that when you build your first one, you get a decoration. Incentivize people to get more than just the vehicle. Give them more than, you know, what they asked for, and then they'll like it. But anyways, that's it from me. This video is probably already going to be long enough. Yeah, that's my verdict. If you're a collector, get it. If you want to play it, don't get it. If you're getting it because you have to grind, go right ahead. So yeah, anyways, guys, Steel Wolf. See you guys next time.